in the Fruits of the Spirit series. We are diving in today. But do I have any grammar people here? You notice not just capitalizations, but you notice when commas are missing and semicolons when it's that run-on sentence or any of. Okay, I mean you probably don't want to raise your hand because you're annoying. I'm just kidding. Okay. Listen.
It's my professional job.
Yeah, our copywriters in here, or you make stuff for I am so grateful for Grammarly, which is I've never been good at it. I have a third grade grammar level. And you guys hear me preach. I write run-on sentences. I just keep going and going. And when I found out what a hyphen and a semicolon was, I was like, thank the Lord, because now I can justify my run-on sentence. But I'm the worst. At third grade, I got it. I'm not going to use anything else from here. And but I still grew up. I mean, I was child of the '90s and then early 2000s, and internet and computers being used in classrooms is my kids have iPads now in class. They don't. My son complained about having to take a book home in his backpack, and I almost threw him out of the house. I had to lug, I walked this home in snow. This is the old man statement happening right here. So I don't know, but now what I appreciate in grammar is really just how words are used and using the right words properly in the right order and all that stuff. And so now being I write a lot. I'm doing usually somewhere between 5 and 10 hours of writing a week, sometimes even more if I'm doing stuff at work in my marketing role. I got to write copy and I got to do all this stuff. So I don't have to think about it. I just let Grammarly do it for me. And it just goes, dude, you just forgot a comma here. Maybe cut these 8 words out because you said it twice. I'm so grateful. Grammarly is my coach. And what I find kind of annoying, but also kind of cool is the differences between nouns, adverbs, adjectives, verbs, and all that type of stuff. But when there's a word that has a bunch of different meanings, but it's the same word. That. Anybody know what this actually is called? A homograph. Yeah. So think of the word bat, right? It's spelled exactly the same. It sounds exactly the same, but it is the flying rodent and the baseball tool. I don't know. Equipment. I don't know. You can tell I do sports. But bark, right? And then lead. There's one of those. And they're different. They can be the same word and sound different because one is either a noun or an adjective or an adverb. And whenever there's 3 or 4, my brain just sizzles. By the way, this is why they say English language is one of the hardest to learn, because we just have so many things that just mean the exact same thing. And then we make up words like mid. And I'm just can we just figure out how to maybe separate the word bark and bark first before we start I don't know, adding more words or making more homographs. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, but one of these words, and we're going to talk about it all today, is kind. Right? Depending on how you use it, kind is used in different ways, so one of a kind, right? Or you're describing a very specific thing, right? And then you got kind of. It means something different. It just means that you're non-committal. Kind of. Or it's our non-confrontational person. Somebody tries to relay your opinion back to you and you're No, kind of. The better thing is to say, not at all. Like you totally missed it. Or how about this, like those kinds? Right? It's like categorizing, yeah. So this is actually, I think the word kind is mostly used nowadays in like those kind, those kinds of things, those kinds of people, those, you go, like, we are so obsessed with categorizing and like finding our tribes of things. And then one of the ways you find who you are is by finding who you're not. And so then we just go like, oh, I'm not one of those kind of people. But they're that kind. It's, most of the time it's like nice. Like, maybe you're not a karaoke kind of person, but you have a few people that if you have a margarita or two, you become a karaoke kind of person. Like, not a good one, but you kind of become one. By the way, don't invite me to karaoke. No, don't, because I'm going to ruin it. Not with my voice, with my attitude. You ever like go bowling and everyone is good but you? And then they do this thing where they got to cheer you on. Hey, you got 3. You're like, I'm 35, like I'm not 11. But you feel like 11 whenever you like roll this ball down and then like 3 hits and you have to do this thing and face everybody who's, you did it. Like, somebody put the bumpers on for me. Like this is, that's me with karaoke. You guys would be like, you sang, you did it. I don't know why you chose Eminem, but you did it. Like, you better lose yourself to no. That's right. So we're going to talk about the word kind today, and how we use it is really, really important, because the Bible also has a definition of kind in the way that we not only would use it, but then practice it. The Bible's key on stuff that whenever it starts defining stuff, it's not just so you know things, it's so you do something with it. So when we've been doing this series on the fruits of the Spirit, I don't care, honestly, I know this is aggressive, I don't care if you're like, well, actually, this is what joy really means according to Eric, who read the Bible. Like what I care about is you did something with it. So if we gave you information, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? How did it change your life? That's what the Bible is consistently, almost constantly trying to do. And you see messages of Jesus rewriting words, rewriting understandings of law, and not like, oh, it now means something completely different. He's like, no, here's the focus. Here's how we use this. Paul, who is the writer of 13 different letters or books in the New Testament, he seems to be like an author on kindness. A lot of it about like salvation, coming back to Christ if you were once a Jew or still a Jew, but wanting to now believe in a risen Savior. He's talking a lot about that. But then as he's talking to groups of churches, one of his biggest corrections is, you guys aren't kind. You're really struggling at this. And so Ephesians chapter 2, if you got a Bible, I want you to pull it out. If not, I would love for you to take a note. We're going to kind of go back and forth between Ephesians and Romans just a little bit. Both are letters written by Paul to churches. This one is to a church called Ephesus. You really don't need to know that unless you're doing deep dives. And then, yes, you should know that. So we're going to look at Ephesians chapter 2, verse 7. It says, so God can point to us in all future ages as examples of the incredible wealth of his grace and kindness towards us, as shown in all he has done for us who are united with Christ. Now, I think what Paul, and not only think, I think what we see directly right here in this verse is Paul is linking the fruit of the spirit of kindness, the behavior and actions, he's directly linking it to grace, which is go back a couple months and we did an 8-week series on mercy and forgiveness and grace, and how we've kind of skipped over parts of grace. And one of these things, some of the beginning steps of grace, which is this undeserved mercy. And unreasonable forgiveness is realizing that God has been kind to you in that you don't deserve the grace. And think about this of the people who have wronged you, especially when you have communicated a standard and expectation that is healthy, not just simply like a like and a dislike, like a loyal, faithful, like restriction on a partnership, friendship, spouse, dating, whatever it is. And then that's betrayed. They don't deserve your grace. They don't deserve your kindness. And a lot of times in the Bible, what our relationship with God is compared to that kind of relationship, where whether we've accepted or not, he's committed himself to you. And yet we go find other partners to fulfill the thing that he says, I want to bring that to you. If you asked me, if you spent time with me, not just once a week in the morning when someone else says it, but if you had a daily practice, Jesus calls it daily bread, then let's go. That's what I want to get from you guys. No. If you would do this, you would start to see that although you don't deserve it, he so wants to give it. So no matter what this is an incredibly kind act to a creator of the universe who can and does whatever he wants, including making you and giving grace. I think this is really important because this biblical definition of grace, let's use some grammar just to be fun a little bit, is this: be kind, not kind of kind, to every kind. Be kind, not kind of kind, to every kind. Be a grace-filled person. That's what I mean by kind right here. Not just like every once in a while, not when it's easy. In fact, I would just argue, let's just throw easy out of today's conversation. Because if it's easy to be kind, that's just called love. So, not just kind of, but to every kind. Humankind. Which would have no restrictions on categories. And those things. Actually, I now am that. And Paul encourages us several different times throughout the Bible that we look at other people and we'd have this judgment in the categorizing of others. And he says, I am the worst of the worst. The writer of the Bible would declare himself, I am the, and you would look at the thoughts and actions and behaviors of Paul and you go, no, you're kind. Not just kind of kind, but to every kind. And he says, no, I'm in the same category as you. Me and you. My thing might look a little different, but the cause and effect is still the same. And this is what we want to wrestle with today. I like this verse as Paul, he's really great at word pictures, which I like doing. And so I like, reading and kind of picturing these. I love what he says in here, which is the looking in Ephesians chapter 2, verses 7. He says the examples of God's incredible wealth of grace and kindness. I like the categorize as wealth as if grace and kindness is a currency. Can you imagine a world with me just for a second where we didn't have like dollar bills and checks and debit and credit cards as our currency, but the only currency we had to trade for goods and services was your kindness? So as you go through the checkout station, part of the kindness is you wouldn't take more than what you need. And then as you walk through and somebody helps you bag and gets you out of the place and they're being kind to you and they represent the place that is providing something to you, you would be kind in return to them. As they helped you, you'd go, is there anything I can help you with? Imagine that the only way to become a leader whether that was a boss, a manager of a restaurant, or president of the United States, whatever it was, is you had to be kind. And not only that, the kindest of the kind. That they would lead with a servant attitude of, I'm here to be the example of what kind looks like for us. What if instead of chief executive officer, it was chief executive kindness? I don't know. Like whatever it is, like that is how you lived. That is how you got stuff. That is how this is happening here in your life. And looking at this example of wealth, I think Paul is giving us, again, this word picture of what it means to look like if we are unkind people. Let me put it this way. An unkind person is spiritually bankrupt. One of the first ways that you can tell that you are not living a walk with God, and sometimes it's not that I remember I haven't prayed today. And it's not like, I don't know, I'm hangry or whatever it is. It's you. If you were to really look at it, one of the first signs, because it's the first sign to everyone else around you, is you are an unkind person right now. Your words, your actions and behaviors are not grace-filled. I probably did something wrong, but your response came from a deficit instead of an overflow. And so now, because I'm inconvenienced, I'm going to be unkind to you. So Paul's pointing this out is you are bankrupt. You got nothing to trade these goods and services. You go through the checkout line and you have way more than you need and don't thank anybody, right? Or you're the person checking people out and you're not doing the Chick-fil-A, my pleasure, right? And that would be a sign that you need to spend time with God. It's nice. You have an immediate trigger, like the smoke alarm. Beep. Hey, I should change those batteries. A week later, you start drowning it out, right? It just becomes the thing that's in your house. Like, and people come over and be like, do you need help changing your detector? And you'd be like, I didn't even know it was going off. Think about this with our unkindness. I just forgot that feeling that this isn't okay has just gone away. I'm just an unkind person, that it no longer even affects my day-to-day life. It's wild, isn't it? One of the things that you find out whenever you're like broke, like the cupboard's empty broke. We've been broke. Like, been like, oh my goodness. Like, is you realize just how expensive things are, right? Like just basic things like toilet paper. You walk and you're like, what is this 6-pack of toilet paper? And you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm paying $1 a roll, and this is messy, and then it's just going up and up and up and up, and you're just like, geez, okay, well let's get that single ply, get it in the the 48 pack, and you're like, I got nowhere in my house where 48 toilet paper rolls go, but I got it for $4, so like let's go, like. You just start to realize like how expensive it is. And we were just talking about this in life group, but there's been a recent change like in our lives, which is we stopped looking at groceries in a way of like negotiating how much is there in order for us to spend, right? Like you go, okay, I have $120 to spend. How can I make a meal like out of this? I got to feed people. I got to feed myself, and I need 7 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, what do I need to do? That's how most people budget. And if you're in that situation, that's actually healthy, that's good. It's called a budget. But thankfully, in a blessing, we're in a spot right now where we go, hey, do we want like pork chops this week? And we're not thinking, can we afford pork chops? We're just getting pork chops. But whenever we're broke, the first thing that goes is healthy foods. Because healthy foods are expensive. Like it's the moment that we go, it's pizza rolls, taquitos, right? It's all frozen foods and processed, crazy processed. Like where like Taco Bell's better for you. Like that's the level of grocery shopping we're doing. We got peanut butter and jellies. We're doing, like we're getting what we can. Pop-Tarts is on the menu. Like we're that is how we're getting it. And so I find it crazy, for me, that like the things that I immediately when I feel broke, that I start negotiating the healthy things first. Instead of all the other habits, which is, do I really need that coffee? Do I need that energy drink? Do I really need to get that subscription anymore? How expensive is my life because I'm trying to maintain my comforts instead of maintain my health? And I think if we started thinking about this, that there is a cost to kindness and most of us don't want to pay it. Because kindness has to be a choice. Today, you all chose to come to dwell, right? And there were people, for whatever reason, who come to dwell but chose not to. That's why we put a video up online for however, I'm not your dad. Make a decision. But there are negotiations that we make where we go, well, because I spent my time last night till 3 a.m., the cost to be kind to myself, which is to go get spiritually refilled, is more expensive because I'm broke. So what's the ROI on our choices? What's the return on investment? What are we spending our kindness on? Is it selfish? You should be kind to yourself. But what else? What else can we do today? Here's the thing, is I think kindness then has become this luxury item. Well, of course you have time to be kind. I'm a single mom with 2 kids. I don't have time to be kind to my kids. By the way, I'm a parent with a spouse and I have 3 kids. I use the excuse, I don't have time to be kind. I single parented for 5 days this week and God bless y'all. I started to get the listen, if you're just willing to say yes to my kids, I think I'll date you. There's going to be Sam that I called, so it was. So don't worry, you were safe. I think we look at kindness like this luxury item, but I got some tough news for us, that if kindness is a luxury, then we can expect loneliness to be our destiny. If we're not willing to pay the cost towards people, towards ourselves, what we're going to find ourselves is the most lonely people. And we're going to find ourselves isolated, and even if people are asking you to be a part, we have this narrative in our head now, which is nobody wants me. And that might be true because you're an unkind person. I'm not asking you to like what I'm saying, but I am asking you to analyze a little bit. If you got no one reaching out to you, or when you show up places, and no one's like, it's you. Yeah. When I was looking at the fruits for this series, in doing this message, I thought about blueberries. Because to me, blueberries are a luxury item, right? It's the thing that's easily negotiable. But blueberries are expensive. For what you get for a blueberry, we talked about this with grapes, but no one's eaten a blueberry and gone oh, that's exactly what I needed. And carried on with their day. You got to have multiple, but then it's basically the whole package of blueberries is what you want. Or if you put it in a parfait, you're still even going to put half of the package into it. I don't know. I like food, so I eat. If I'm going to eat, let's eat. And so but you then are going to pay $8 for a little bit of blueberries. So I've never, when I'm broke, I've never thought, let's make sure we have blueberries in the fridge. Like, and there's a reason why they're expensive. I mean, blueberries, out of a lot of the other fruits that we've talked about, there is a cost to a blueberry. Like, there's three primary factors. Like some of the other fruits, they have to be grown in the right environment in order to do that. So especially here in the States, there's only like certain areas that could grow year round. But even then, like there's just a lot that factors into it. Like, but not only that, they're so delicate, they have to be hand harvested. Like if they use a machine and like shook a tree. Have you ever shook a tree and something came out? And it's terrifying. I get Isaac Newton now. But they like, if you go to like some other like orchards and different things like that, they big, like large trees, they have to put like an industrial like shaker to get, you can't do that with blueberries. Like they're really sensitive. Otherwise they bruise and then you can't sell them. But again, to the climate thing, it is really expensive to import them. And, for a couple of reasons is that they have a really low shelf life. Once you pick a blueberry, the clock is running like real fast, like in a pretty crazy way. So if they are imported from overseas, you have to pay a massive cost just to get them to the store. And then once you're at the store and you get them, you're like, it says I got to eat these in 2 days. Like I got to really plan my parfait out. Like I got to plan these blueberry muffins. And so this cost, I think about this, like same with kindness. It feels like nowadays the cost of kindness is just going up and up and up, but the reward of kindness is just going down and down and down. Like it used to be the other day that you would hold the door open for somebody and like a year later you're married to them. Like that was how you met somebody. It was like somebody asked like, does anyone have a piece of gum? And then like 3 weeks later you're making out. Like that's like, that used to, kindness used to lead to love. And now like when you start dating, you don't expect them to be kind. In fact, your like first instinct is like, you're trying to get some. Like that's not very kind. Like you just want to use me? Like, and then some of us, again, so lonely because we might be unkind people. We're like, fine. Like, right? Because we're just desperate for anything that's nice. Like the reward of being even kind to yourself has gone down and down and down. When like I can get all these dopamine hits, I can get all of this stuff. When I was studying this, I started reading a book by a dean of a school named Barry Corey of a Christian school. And he wrote this. He says, kindness has become far too often a forgotten virtue. And kindness must shape us and define us. But this powerful virtue seems to be characterizing us less and not more. We have lost an understanding of the power of kindness, mistakenly dismissing it as fluff or bland. And kindness needs to be rediscovered. And here, we're, as Christians, as people in here, we are called to pay the cost of kindness, if almost especially that we would get nothing ever in return for it. So where do you keep getting the resource, the wealth, that it's okay that you never get anything back for your investment? This is what we're supposed to do. And unfortunately, I'm not saying all of us, but I think like, especially in our Western culture, I think if you asked a group of people who are not Christians, name the words that describe Christians, kind would not be in the list. But it's supposed to be one of our main characteristics. That people would actually understand us as kind even before they would understand us as loving. One of the things, I've talked about this before, but the early Christian church was so generous, so kind, that governments needed to change their charity systems because people stopped asking for the need of governments. Because the church would provide. Without expecting anything. You just need it. And God gave us, so why wouldn't we give you? Oh, I get to be Jesus today? What a blessing. What a kind thing we can do. And we have this like, our first instinct, I think, especially when confronted about our faith or the things that we're asked to do to be put in practices, is to be argumentative, to push people, to challenge them as they are challenging us, as if we have all the blueberries and we're like, you don't deserve it. Because you're broke, and I'm rich. Like, oh, you're going to hell and I got eternal life. So like, screw you. If you're even kind of rude to me, I'm writing you off. Like that, because I already got my reward. I'm still good. And we're just the most unkind people. This is me, by the way. I feel myself unkind in that way. Generous with God's gift to me, but not generous with how he's asking it to go through me. Romans 2:3-4 puts it like this: since you judge others for doing these things, why do you think you can avoid God's judgment when you do these same things? Don't you see how wonderfully kind and tolerant and patient God is with you? Does this mean nothing to you? Can't you see that his kindness is intended to turn you away from sin? This is Paul, and I just touted him as the author of kindness, and this doesn't seem very kind. Like when you need to say something, and this isn't nice. But here's kindness and niceness are not the same. And although we are called to be kind, to get to the point of this, I don't think we always have to come it from the angle of being nice. Now, here is the thing. You should be nice, but if your default is aggression, you're missing it. You see, you can confront difficult things in a kind way. And some of the things you might need to say aren't very nice, but they are kind. Harsh feedback, a critique of someone's actions and behaviors is not nice, but it is kind. If it's not your opinion, it is something that is hurting them. If you got an opinion, be careful how you share it. But I'm talking about like you're putting your kids in danger. You're putting yourself in danger. You have an addiction. Your anger, your hate, your rage is hurting the world around you. I got something to say to you. And if I don't, I am being unkind, not them. Because I can only do me. But I have to say something. This is what we're called to do. We're called to walk this balance. Romans 11 puts it this way. Notice how God is both kind and severe. He is severe toward those who disobeyed, but kind to you if you continue to trust in his kindness. But if you stop trusting, you will also be cut off. Ugh. Right? These truths are hard. In her book on leadership called Dare to Lead, Brene Brown, she writes this, that clear is kind. But then later in this book, she clears this up with this quote. She says, choosing our own comfort over hard conversations is the epitome of privilege. And it corrodes trust and moves us away from meaningful and lasting change. Difficult conversations are supposed to happen. They're not supposed to be a daily occurrence. But I would argue that if you aren't having a difficult conversation, that you've opened up someone to do that with you on a pretty regular basis, I'm talking about like a spouse, probably weekly. Like, if you're dating someone or you're friends with someone, maybe like once a month. Because we're all growing and learning. And if you got nothing to grow in, probably both of you are broken. And you got to find a new mentor. You got to find someone else who's willing to or you have something, you just don't want to say it, because then you would also have to confront something you're doing wrong. But how do you have those conversations? What we're called to do is anytime we would have to confront somebody, we would lead with kindness. What would be the grace that you would expect if someone needed to confront you about something harmful or hurtful? You'd want them to love you and to not just say something, but partner with them in their change. Accountability. By the way, a key word in friendship is accountability. Musicians, James, would you come forward for a second? Just kind of close this moment out. You guys with me just for one last little bit here? I want to leave us all here today with a reflection on one of the most unkind things I see our church doing. Okay? So I don't normally speak this. We usually reserve Natalie to do this because she's much more kind and like directness, but I do feel a need in the seasons of life that we're all in, and we all know you pretty well. We've gotten to learn your stories and go with you on journeys, and we ourselves have journeys and stories too. And potentially what I want to say may not come across as very nice, but to the sake of who we are supposed to be, it is kind. And I know I'm careful on displaying that because that kind of puts it in a spot where you can't have an opinion or argue about it. Please do. If I say something that you disagree with, let's talk. Like, I promise I won't be argumentative. I will listen. You're proof to this. Like, we've had some unkind conversations before, back and forth, but we listen, right? Natalie, right? Sam, we've had a few of those. Like, where you just go, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I have to da-da-da-da-da. Like, that's Sam to me. So I hope you hear your pastor's heart. But I believe Dwell Church is known as a nice church. I also believe that we do well at being open to all walks of life coming into this building. And we are an incredibly welcoming church. I love that. Both of those things, by the way, that's what leadership is it's top down. That is something that Natalie and I really pride ourselves on being. And so Dwell will always have that because we're the leaders. We're making the decisions of what this looks like. I think we are very nice people. We are very welcoming people. Like, right? Like, I don't know. Your opinion, not mine, I guess. But as we near the 4-year anniversary of Dwell in June, I can tell you that being nice and welcoming church can no longer be our strategy for sustainability. We as a church have become comfortably stagnant in one of the core practices of being a Christian, and that is bringing those we love to a life with God. And in a spirit that I've been praying on, Natalie and I have been praying on and talking about, is something I'm so uncomfortable with talking about. And it's this: how long can Dwell keep going? You see, I think we've relegated the call to reach people and bring them to church to a few people because it's a natural gift of theirs. They're just an inviting person. Like they're extroverts in a way. And by the way, we have some really big inviters that aren't extroverts. But I think we've used stuff like that, excuses, not reasons, excuses, like being an introvert or being anxious, or avoiding uncomfortable conversations and invitations. What if they say no? What if they yell at me? What if they judge me? What if I tell them they should come to church, or what they're doing is unhealthy, and they would turn it around on me and talk about my unhealthy life? In this, we have carried a pacifist spirit in our church. So we forget that a safe place like Dwell only exists because somebody reached you. I think we've become callous to the fact that a place like Dwell has been kind to us, and that is not meant to be a luxury that we hoard. My blueberries. But a resource to give everyone we know. And just like a blueberry, there's more than enough kindness to go around. Would you guys stand with me? I'm going to end right here, and I want you guys to do this one last thing for me as we end the message. I would like to take a moment and reflect on something important. And so if you feel comfortable, I want to encourage you maybe to close your eyes just so you can, it's not about anyone else in this room. This is just something for you to reflect on, where you're at, where you feel like God is leading you right now. I want you to think of someone you love who lives here in Omaha, who is far from God. They immediately came to your mind. And some of us were running through a Rolodex, maybe. That's good, by the way. That's what we're supposed to do. It might be a spouse, a coworker, a friend, a family member, a boyfriend, girlfriend. Then I want you to answer this question as we go back into the song about God's mercy and kindness. What act of kindness would you do today if God's only plan to get that person to heaven was you? What if you were the only limitation to eternal life?